Welcome to It's All About Connection, NVC with Dr. B.
Welcome, everybody.
Here we are.
Heather is having some things that she wanted to share with me about doing this recording live with a video. And I was like, well, sounds like you could use some empathy. And it's always nice to model the empathy, I think, process for people. So let's just launch in and see where it goes. And if you feel comfortable even putting this out, we may or may not use it. Okay. So, yeah, you were just sharing, if I'm tracking, that you really don't enjoy doing the podcast when we are videotaping them, because now we're videotaping them.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, it seems like there's more pressure or like just now there's a spotlight on it for me, which is, I don't know, feels conflicting, or I guess it's not a feeling, but it seems conflicting because I do stuff in front of people often and like performance kind of stuff. So I don't know, something about just like being on camera and like being able to see myself as we do this. And I'm sure I could also find a way to not see me and it wouldn't be so distracting, but there is something, yeah, around feeling like self-conscious. And again, I don't even know if that's a feeling. So thinking I'm self-conscious.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pause, and everybody that's listening or watching this, what the way I'm choosing to respond is in empathy. So for people maybe new, you might want to try to pay attention to what it is that I am or I'm not doing in response to Heather. That was just like a timeout before I respond. And then we can debrief afterwards for people that are watching or listening. Yeah. So what I'm taking away from what you just shared is, you said you're feeling self-conscious. I'm guessing maybe feeling scared, maybe a little vulnerable. Um, yeah, really needing more like confidence or self-esteem or acceptance or something like that. Is that kind of what's up?
Yeah, definitely feeling vulnerable and wanting maybe something around acceptance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel confused about it.
Yeah, so you're even confused about it, and it was doubly confusing because, you do perform in front of people, so you're used to being out in front of people, but maybe it's something about like that we're on a camera and you're actually like we're watching ourselves the entire time. Or you have a choice as we're here, like you're either watching me or you're watching the little scrolly thing go across, or you're watching yourself. And I'm guessing like there's something about that is somewhat distracting for you. Like it pulls you. I think you said before we came on the show that you were really mourning presence. Like it literally pulls you out of being able to hear or even be more. And is that it? Part of the conversation?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely pulls me out of presence. I'm
Hmm.
mourning a lot of presence and listening. Yeah, I don't think I'm as engaged with all these distractions, and I miss the ease of just the recording.
Hmm. Yeah, because I'm wondering. Yeah, so you just want longing for more ease with it all. And I'm wondering if I have some thoughts. Are you willing to hear some of my thoughts about this?
Sure.
Which, for those of you listening, that's now I'm
A
moving not
connecting
in.
request.
Yeah, it's a connecting request. Can I do something other than just listen and listen for needs? And she said yes. So I'm wondering if part of it is, when we're on here, I tend to take up a lot of the space because I'm the one I mean, I think I have thoughts that you know NVC very well. And you could easily take up space, but just the way that it's been like, I share like the last one that we did, I think that was hard. Maybe for you was me sharing a lot of my story. So you didn't get to say very much, you know? And like when we're doing this and we're just recording, we're not seeing you. It's just me and you just hear me as opposed to like seeing you where you're just there, not saying anything and it's me. It's kind of like I have thoughts like it's the Cindy show. And and Heather just quiet and there, and when you were not saying anything, it was just the audio is okay, like because you could just kinda be in the background, but it's a little bit more difficult to be in the background now that we're actually videotaping this.
Yeah, that is all true for me.
Yeah. So, something about, like, wanting more for sure, more ease. Gosh, I don't have my need sheet. You see, I'm looking around. I left my need sheet in North Carolina. I need to print another one of those suckers out. I can't operate without my need sheet. That's a lesson learned for people. I've been doing this for what, 15, 20 years. I still like to look at my need sheet. Um,
Mourning the needs sheet.
well, that's a strategy. The need
It
sheet
is.
it helps me with effectiveness and awareness, maybe learning. Um, but yeah, for you, I'm just like the need came up about privacy or maybe even like safety.
Yeah, I think safety is a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, like being just out there and seeing watching yourself. It's one thing when you're like doing comedy and you're out there and I'm guessing that's already an edge, but you're not seeing a video of yourself while you're doing the comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that would be distracting if you saw a video because then you'd be thinking, and I don't think this is just you, I think it's everyone. We'd be thinking like, well, what is that mark on my face, Or like, I don't like the
Mm.
way my hair is looking right now. Like I think but I'm not just saying you, I think that most of us have
Yeah,
that.
it's very distracting.
Yeah, to be able to look at yourself and have full presence beyond just looking at ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think it reminds me kind of, there used to be the forum or est way back in the day, and I never did this, but I've heard of people that like had to stand in front of a room in front of people as they're like just watching you, and you just had to stand there and look out as people were quietly just staring at you.
It's very uncomfortable. I've had to do that exercise in a few workshops.
Yeah,
But the whole point is to, allow yourself to be seen and be vulnerable.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's very similar kinds of needs coming up, like, wanting acceptance and more comfort, confidence, and even just maybe self-love or something like that coming up in all of that.
Yeah, I think self-acceptance and compassion.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe just wanting to be able to show up fully how you are, whether you have a lot to say in a moment or not, or whether you're being, funny and having things that you're enjoying putting out there, or maybe not. You're just wanting to be able to show up fully as you in the moment and have okayness around it from you and probably for others. Something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think
that's
that's
it.
all. I don't know where we go from here. Other
Yeah,
than that, I don't know about the strategy now.
yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering. So, if what would you say is the main? Would you think? I'm curious. The main needs.
Main needs ease and safety. Yeah, I think those are the two chief needs.
Hmm. Yeah, Um, I I just came up with a strategy.
What was it?
It's kind of a funny strategy, but, in this StreamYard that we're using, we could take you off the screen sometimes.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah, like the last one that we just did, it was me telling the story for the whole time. So you're like, "La, la, 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 I'm not saying shit." You
Mhm.
probably have thoughts of like, "I look like an idiot. I am just not saying shit. La, 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 la. It's a Cindy show. La, 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 la." Something like that. What I could easily do is I could do this. Watch, I'll bring you back. I could be like, "Okay, here's me in the Cindy show." So it's just me getting to talk about my thing, and then when I'm done, saying whatever I wanna say, then I could just bring Heather back on, and there you go.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that actually happens. That is like a thing. Like when people start talking, it'll just like go it's like on Zoom. When someone's talking, it just focuses on them.
I'm wondering if that would help to meet your need for safety and ease doing that.
Yeah. I mean, we could try it. I'm open to trying it.
Mhm. Okay. One thing we have to figure out is you being able to actually still hear me, so you'll still be part of what I'm saying, and that way when you come back in, you'll if you have something to say, um, you'll you'll still be with the program, so to speak. So we got to figure that out. But I want for our listeners just to notice a few things about what we just did. Okay. Um, First of all, we modeled empathy, giving empathy and receiving empathy. So yeah, Heather, I'm wondering if you would be willing to point out some of the things that I did for our listeners.
You listened and gave empathy first. And yeah, just like really took needs, guesses, and then made a connecting request. And then we tried to figure out some strategies to meet my
Right.
needs.
Right. Because coming into this, the only strategy that seemed like as a possibility would be like not to do it anymore, not to do the recording video portion of this anymore. And uh, what you start to do in this work is to start to figure out, be more creative, basically. When you're hearing someone's needs, like I want you to have ease and I want you to have safety for sure. You know, I want to contribute to those. Though those are not my responsibility. We talked about that in one of our previous episodes, but I want that for you. And so, yeah, you saw it just live, like coming up with possibly another solution. But there could be many, many things. Like, again, it's not my responsibility to meet her needs. Maybe there are other things that Heather could do offline to help her have more safety or ease coming on. So, just want to point that out to folks. Like, we get very bogged down in this need and it has to be this way. We have to use this strategy. But we just, like, that wasn't pre planned, what we just came up with. That was like a live, real thing. Okay. Coming up with a different strategy and think it might actually be a really nice solution and add another like some depth to what we're doing here. So um yeah, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Can I share a little bit my response to this whole thing,
Yeah.
Heather? Yeah, I'm appreciating you being willing to do it. I have thoughts that, it's vulnerable to be that honest, especially in front of a camera. And yeah, I'm appreciating your willingness to do it. I think that I'm hoping that it meets needs for people out there in the world for learning around what empathy is and what it's not. I mean, I didn't move to solution until we connected around the needs. That's another thing to note. We first really stayed on empathy, trying to reflect and get what's going on for her and surface the needs and then moving to solutions, which is how we do the opposite out there in the world. Usually we just start with solutions without even realizing what needs are on the table. So I'm hoping people got some learning out of it. around what empathy is and is not, and also the difference between strategies and needs and how this whole thing works. You have anything
Yeah.
else?
No,
Okay.
nothing
All right.
else.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to call in and give us your response to this episode, you can call our empathy warm line, which is 850.
850-706-0488.
Thanks. And thanks.
You've been listening to It's All About Connection, NVC with Dr. B. For more episodes and guest bios, please visit us at www.thebigbmethod.com. That's www.thebigbmethod.com. And remember, empathy first.